Good Monday morning, everybody. Although probably not the morning by the time you see this. It is for me though, so bear with me. I wanted to do a sit-down story time today. How I came to Supernatural, my Supernatural origin story, if you will. I realized just yesterday that I haven't shared this yet, even though I've given little bits and pieces of the lore across my videos, across, my page. I don't think I've ever told you all from start to finish how I came to this show and this fandom. So I'm gonna do that now. We're gonna do that today. And this is partially inspired by all the comments on my last video, which are hilarious, by the way. If you have not watched that video, go to the last video on my channel. Not my channel. Oh my God. See, I used to be a YouTuber, so this feels like a YouTube channel to me. It's not though. My TikTok page. Go to my TikTok page, look at the video where I'm talking about how Supernatural will find you, and read those comments because my goodness, are they relatable and also really funny. If you need a laugh, there you go. Before we get started, some commotion for the mug and a round of applause for the shirt, because the shirt was actually made and sent to me by a fellow TikTok Supernatural family friend on here, Chris. Thank you so much, Chris. Here, I'm going to pan down so you can see it. Isn't it great? It's so soft. My man Castiel, the wings are present. It's great. He did a little thing where his name, it looks like a halo over his head, which I think was a very nice touch. So thank you, Chris. It was my first time receiving a gift from someone from TikTok, and I felt very special and very loved. So thank you. Some quick background on me, so you fully understand who you're dealing with here. I was, and always will be, a fandom girly, okay? I went to high school between the years 2010 and 2014. Those were peak fandom years. If you were there, if you were present and alive and old enough to be cognizant and online, you know what I'm talking about. Tumblr was in its heyday. Twitter popping all the way off. Instagram was really getting a roll going. We were all starting to get smartphones. It was crazy time to be plugged into the online fandom community. And boy, was I, okay? It started off with a Glee hyperfixation that rolled into the Vampire Diaries, Sherlock, Doctor Who, The Hunger Games, Star Trek. I mean, I could go on and on. I was deep in it. And I was primarily a Sherlock and Doctor Who girly. Wholock. And I was very aware of Supernatural because of the super Wholock of the time. And I actively avoided it. I won't lie to you. I didn't have time for another fandom. And I saw what was going on in the Supernatural fandom. And I was like, maybe not. Maybe not. A lot of fighting. A lot of scary things happening over there. Maybe we won't. And I had already seen the pilot, actually. When I was in middle school, I watched the pilot and was scared to death of it. I was not into horror at the time. I was too young. I was like, this is scary. It's scary. I don't want to watch it. And so I didn't. And I promptly forgot about it until November 2020. And you know what I'm going to say. I was chronically online like the rest of you. And I watched the internet unravel before my eyes as the final few episodes of Supernatural aired that month. And I think it was episode 18, Despair, was the one where I finally realized that Supernatural was still airing. I was like, what? I was like, I was sure that show had ended years ago. I was like, damn, you guys, this show's been on forever. And I watched it happen, and I was like, honestly, like when you're watching an active car accident and you're like, you can't look away? That was kind of like what was happening. And out of sheer fascination, I logged into my old Tumblr account, which I had not been on in years, and just watched the drama unfold before my eyes. And then said, okay, well, I hope they're all okay after that. And couldn't be me. Bye. Proceeded not to think about it again until September, October of this past year. So in August of 2023, one of my closest friends started watching the show and started sharing with me how much she was loving it. And I, being who I am, love hearing friends talk about the things they're passionate about. It gives me so much joy, even if I don't share that passion, because I just love it when people are lit up inside about something. It's so much fun to be around. It's such a good energy. And so I would listen to her talk about it, and I was like, convinced I wasn't gonna watch it, so I was like, oh, just spoil it for me. Just tell me what happens and like show me clips and like show me your favorite things because I want to share this with you. But I'm not gonna watch it, so don't worry about it. Famous last words. So she would talk about it, and she told me what happened in the finale. I didn't remember it. Like, I didn't have any context for who these characters were, so I promptly brain dumped it. I'm really good at brain dumping information, so that helped me later on because I wasn't spoiled, but like, she definitely did tell me what happens in the show. Crazy. And we ended up watching some of the most famous episodes together, out of order, with no context. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna watch the show, so just show them to me. So I think we watched, she'll correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember the order in which we watched these, but we definitely did watch Changing Channels, The French Mistake, and the LARPing episode with Charlie. There might have been another one in there that we watched. Oh, Yellow Fever. We watched Yellow Fever as well. And then she would explain to me the lore around each episode and like any context I needed for that episode, and then we would watch it. Loved it. I was like, oh, this is so great. Like, so great. Not gonna watch it though, but love it. She would then show me edits on YouTube or TikTok, and I started watching the blooper reels with her and a couple of convention footage things. I should have known that was the nail in the coffin for me because I love a blooper reel. I do. And I was like, oh, they're so charming. They're so charming. I love them. But I'm not going to watch it though. And we now come to October of 2023. It's been a few months of this now, of the seeds being planted, me refusing to watch the show. And one night my mom actually was like, let's watch the pilot. We were bored, there was nothing to do, and my friend had talked to both me and my mom about the show, so my mom was cognizant of it as well. And we watched the pilot, and I could feel it happening to me while I was watching the pilot. It did not even take me a few episodes. It just took the pilot. And I tried to play it cool. I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of like old-fashioned, it's a little dated, but like, yeah, I'm gonna keep watching just to like see what I think. And that was it. That was it for me. I watched it at a fairly normal pace at first. It was like 2 episodes a night for a while. I think it took me a couple weeks to get through the first 3 seasons. But I knew what was coming. I knew Lazarus Rising was coming. I knew who Castiel was already. I knew all of it. And I knew things were going to double down for me once that character entered the scene. And boy did it. Boy did it. Because we got to season 4 and it was full speed ahead. That holiday season, this last holiday season, the fervor in which I watched this show, like, when I tell you I was crushing 5 episodes a night, I wasn't joking. It leveled out after that because obviously, you know, I was on Christmas break or whatever, so I had time. But I got a lot of seasons under my belt between, like, end of November, mid-January. And it was, at that point, I was just fully a goner. Fully gone. Like, it was, I had to actively hold back the fandom aspect of it because I didn't want spoilers. We got to a certain point in the show where I was like, oh, I'm gonna be spoiled if I go online at all with this. So minus the few videos I posted on TikTok around season 11 that went viral, I stayed completely off of fandom, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok. I would not read the comments of anything. I would not look up things on YouTube or TikTok or anywhere. I completely existed on my friend sending me pre-approved things to watch that were spoiler-free. And that's how I existed for several months until we got to, I think I finished in April, beginning of April. It wasn't that long ago that I finished the show. In fact, I went to my first convention before I had finished the show. I finished season 13 by the time I went to my first convention. So at that point, I knew kind of what was coming, spoiler-wise, with 14 and 15, and was able to go to the convention without, like, being shocked by anything. And finished shortly after, and here we frickin' are. Here we are. And it is, what, May 13th? I watched that pilot on October 18th. So it has been an adventure. So stitch this video and let me know what your supernatural origin story is, because I love hearing about this. Everyone has like a slightly different way they came to this show, and I think it's all interesting. So either comment below or stitch this video, and I would love to hear.